Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. This is, of course, the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel with the Raw report for the 7th of February 2022. What a horrible show. Jimmy Smith announced first hour Raw on Sci-Fi tonight would be commercial free. Oh, joy, longer versions of junk. Tonight's show will have an appearance by Lena and Bobby Lashley here in his hometown, as well as Riddle and Seth Rollins. Academic Quiz Bowl Challenge, Orton and Riddle defeat Chad Gable and Otis. Yes, they wasted time with this. Chad Gable receives good heat coming down, and Gable explains the rules and says first team to 5 points wins. Patrick runs down the 9 categories. Gable chooses U.S. presidents, and then is asked who is the first president to come elected with a college degree. He boos the fans or insults the fans for not knowing what an educational degree is. John Adams is the answer, and the team of Gable and Otis is off to 1-0. Riddle chooses biology, and he says that an octopus has 3 hearts and is correct. Gable chooses Greek mythology and guesses that the Icarus flies too close to the sun. Alpha is ahead 2-1. Orton chooses cartoons. Riddle correctly guesses that Michelangelo is Ninja Turtle that uses nunchucks. 2-2. Gable then offers a question. Orton said Otis should answer the next one. Otis chooses geography and correctly guesses that Texas is the biggest of 48 states. 3-2. Alpha and Otis said that this state with the lowest IQ would be Colorado. RK Bro chooses pop culture. Next question about the Baldwins. Neither of them knew the answer. Orton incorrectly guessed Alec Baldwin. Gabe guessed it right. Steal the points 4-2 Alpha. Gable then goes for film and movies. Gable then gets it wrong. Otis saying Ham, which was a clue. Riddle then correctly guessed that Hamlet is Shakespeare play that has been adapted the most. 4-3 Alpha. Orton asks sports in the question which quarterback throws the most touchdown passes in team history. John Elway 4-4. Gable isn't happy. The crowd is then told that they are horrible. Last question. Metric conversions, asks how many grams are there in and out. Gable gets it wrong. Riddle then is about to answer, but Orton said he'd take it and told Riddle not the only one who bakes. Bro, Orton correctly guessed 28 grams. RK Bro wins Quiz Bowl and earns tag title match. Gable is angry. Orton and Riddle bragged before they leave. Gable whines and falls on the floor, and the buzzer goes off. Street Profits enter and rubbed it in. Gable said they were about to get their tails kicked. Otis then knocked down Montez Ford from behind. 22 minutes into the show, and we haven't seen any wrestling. And ultimately, I mean, this is what they think passes for good television. There are scriptwriters on C-level television networks that could give you more than 22 minutes of that. I just don't understand why this is even here. Non-title match for Raw Tag Team Champions. Alpha Academy defeat Street Profits 536. Dawkins almost had it won after giving Gable a silencer, but that does not go according to plan. They exchange a bunch of counters, and after getting wiped out with a flip dive, that is, Otis gets wiped out. Gable exchanges counters. Gable catches a roll-up, pinfall win. Lead a video package. There is a commercial for 2K22. Therefore, WWE can't even keep their promises to no commercials during the first hour. MVP and Bobby Lashley. MVP introduces Lashley. Paul Heyman introduces Lesnar into the hometown crowd, giving Lashley a standing ovation. MVP runs down recent events. Crowd boos these. MVP said they should have been declared Bobby Lashley Day after his win. Instead, they found out that he'd have to defend the title inside the Elimination Chamber. Said Lesnar did deserve credit for winning the Royal Rumble and deserved to face Reigns at WrestleMania. However, Pure fantasy think Lesnar would take Lashley out at the Chamber. MVP didn't want to discredit other Chamber competitors. He calls AJ Styles and Seth Rollins two of the best that's ever done it. Riddle and Austin Theory, they were the future of the company, but none of them compared to Lashley, who was the baddest man on the planet. Lashley insults Lesnar, bringing up how infrequent he defended the title, wondered what the last time he ever wrestled on Raw was. Lashley looks forward to pinning Lesnar. Once again, when Lesnar wakes up in the hospital, he could look forward to wrestling Reigns and Lashley would be the main event of WrestleMania. Alexa Bliss segment. Psychiatrist admitted Alexa Bliss has a replica. Lily looked good together. Bliss appears to be in a happy mood. She asked to hand over the toy. She did, but began crying, and then they fade to black. AJ Styles defeats U.S. champion Damian Priest. I'd forgotten he was even the champion at this point. 4:58 in a non-title match. Back and forth match. Strike exchange. Styles hits Pele kick. Results in Priest collapsing on Styles for near fall. Priest then knocks Styles off the top rope as they go for the phenomenal forearm. As Priest runs off the opposite rope, Styles then hits a great-looking phenomenal forearm for a pinfall win. The crowd likes Styles more than Priest. Pops for the finish. Priest turns an angry face in the match, so they're teasing a heel turn for Priest. Maybe that'll give him a spark that he needs. They announce Women's Elimination Chamber match, winner earning a Raw title match at WrestleMania. Competitors are Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Doudrop, Nikki Ash. One more wrestler is still to be determined. There's an NXT commercial. Seth Rollins approached Kevin Owens and warned Owens. Owens said he beat Theory tonight and they would have no choice but to put him in the chamber match. Rollins acted like he was Owens' side, but Owens didn't believe him. Anyway, second hour starts with Miz TV. Miz and Maurice guests Rey and Dominic Mysterio. This is the start of the second hour. Gosh, this show feels abysmally long. Miz introduced the guests, Rey and Dominic Mysterio, receiving a good reaction. Rey basically accused Miz of cheating and to win last week. Miz takes offense to this. Crowd calls him a cheater too. Miz says that Edge and Beth Phoenix cheated in their match and never bothered anyone with Eddie Guerrero. It never bothered anyone when Eddie Guerrero cheated. Miz says that this is the Mysterio's own fault and that they lost last week. Miz then offered Rey Mysterio an opportunity to qualify for the Chamber, while he didn't. Miz notes that Mr. Money in the Bank Rey cheated to win that too. Miz says that he beat Drew McIntyre. Rey again says he's cheated to win. Ranting at the crowd, wasting a bunch of time. Dominic gets in Miz's face and tells him to show his father some respect. Miz is amused and called for a match. Dominic accepts. Miz notes that Dominic was much taller than Rey. Are you sure you're not Eddie's son, he says. Crowd chants for Eddie. Dominic decks Miz. And then Dominic Mysterio with Rey Mysterio defeats The Miz 140. Miz, of course, has Maurice. Maurice blatantly trips Dominic a minute into the match. Ref chose not to call for the bell, instead tossing Maurice from ringside after the ref tells her to leave. Rey trips Miz for real this time, which leads to Dominic using Schoolboy for the pinfall. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Austin Theory was shown speaking to Vince McMahon in his office. Who cares about this? Anyway, Bianca Belair defeats Nikki Ash. Nikki targets Belair's leg, applies a single leg crab. Belair then comes back with a fallaway slam, body slams, and a delayed vertical suplex for a near fall, selling her leg the whole time. Nikki hits Tornado DDT for a near fall. Belair kicks Nikki's head in the ring post before hitting the KOD for the pinfall win. R-Truth, Tamina, and Akira Tozawa are shown running through the back. They unknowingly run right past Dana Brooke and Reggie. Brooke thanks Reggie for everything he's done for her, and he kissed him on the cheek. He then asked what that meant, and she said it meant they were friends. Crowd exposed their disappointment at the response, hugging, teasing, kissing on the lips, but they didn't. This eventually ran off, leading to the 24/7 crew coming in their direction. Kevin Owens defeats Austin Theory 905. Theory tries driving Owens into the steel steps. but Owens fights him off and hits a senton on the steps, which leads to a commercial break. Owens nails Cannonball following a splash off the apron. Fans are cheering Owens. This, however, somehow catches Corey Graves off guard. Owens then goes for stunner, but Theory counters into a back suplex for a near fall. Owens then hits a rolling fireman's carry off the top, which pops the crowd. Senton, but Theory gets the knees up. Owens follows up soon thereafter with a stunner and a pinfall. Owens gets a decisive win, and that's that. Riddle tells Orton how excited he is to wrestle the tag team titles. Orton tells him he had a huge opportunity in the main event at WrestleMania on top of that, but also focus on Rollins tonight. Riddle seemed focused. He leaves, but then comes back, tells Orton that they should have a party next week. Orton told him to focus on tonight. Video of Jackie Joyner Kersey, who Bianca Belair had the opportunity to meet recently. Veer is coming. Hasn't Veer been coming for literally months now? Anyway, Lena and Becky Lynch segment. Lena enters. She's excited to be on Raw. This is the start of the third hour. She's thrilled to get to the Rumble and likes Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley. Lita began speaking about Becky Lynch. Lynch interrupts. Lynch mentions Rousey's running scared before saying it's great to hear that her teenage idol saying such nice things about her. She declines Lita's challenge last week, but there's a reason Lynch idolized her growing up. On top of that, a lot of people turned up their noses when she arrived at WWE. Lita didn't. Becky was grateful that Lita gave her a chance. Lynch then said there would be no Becky Lynch without Lita, but now there was a Becky Lynch, and there should be no Lita. The title is the most important thing in her life, and this is the most important time of the year. She just had a child, so I really hope that's not true. Anyway, she said to get rid of her friends and fans to be kept in her title, and had no problem doing that. She also said no problem putting down Lita. Lita admits that Lynch is odds-on favorite, but she has no problem being the underdog. She says she was punk rock dumpster diving kid who chased dreams, but it was fans who helped her become a four-time champion. Fans chanted her name, and she lived a dream. She had another title shot in 15 years, but fans still support her, and she liked those odds. Lita said Lynch should worry about how she'd feel when Lita became a five-time champion. Lynch then said the fans is all that she'd ever have. Lynch attacks Lita, but Lita fights back, giving her Twist of Fate and the Moonsault. Then Owens approaches Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville, with arm in sling. Gotta grab my phone, so I'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail right after this. They're basically portraying it like Owens is an honorary Texan. Certainly not a fan of that. It's just kind of goofy. Basically, he's saying that they can't take him from his people of Texas, yada yada. Again, filler just for the sake of filler, and it's actually quite sad that the scriptwriters don't have anything better to do with their time. Owens approaches Adam Pearce, though, with that, and Owens asked if he'd be in the Chambers thanks to his win. They said the qualifying match last week. Owens couldn't believe it. They were pretty dismissive. Owens said that they can't take that from him and the people of Texas because Texas loved him. Owens said that he'd become Universal Champion Texas and that they'd had his first Mania in Texas. He knew everything about Texas, cowboy boots, the rodeos, the bulls. He pointed out his bull tattoo. He told them that he needed this and then asked them to think about this. Then we go to a Dewdrop Liv Morgan match. Dewdrop then hits a crossbody and leads to a break. 1 minute into the match, of course, why care about wrestling? Anyway, Dewdrop remains in control. Morgan comes back, drop kick off the middle rope, followed by a codebreaker for near fall. And then Dewdrop follows up with a facebuster for a near fall. Morgan then goes for codebreaker for a 2 count again, follows up, and Dewdrop yanks her down and hits a Vader bomb for the pinfall win. not a bad thing, but they pushed Liv Morgan for a while, and then they killed it. Um, anyway, Alexa Bliss segment number 2. Psychiatrist says Bliss cried when she handed back doll, but didn't remain calm, and that's progress. Bliss also recalled getting cut off by another driver recently, but she didn't retaliate. She said someone else took her parking spot, but she remained calm and took another spot instead. On top of that, the evil creature of a woman jumped in front of her in a line of grocery store. She asked what the creature looked like. Bliss basically described Lily before saying that she chucked her down in the aisle before hitting her with a loaf of bread. The guy said they had more work to do, obviously. Next week on Raw on Sci-Fi, Damian Priest defends the U.S. title against AJ Styles. Brock Lesnar appears. RK Bro Party. Rollins tells Patrick he planned on main eventing WrestleMania as champion. And then we go to the main event of the, beginning of the main event segment. Then we go to Riddle defeating Seth Rollins by DQ, 7:42. Rollins powerbombs Riddle into the barricade, barely 60 seconds in the match, leading to a break. Rollins then remains in control until Riddle comes back with the Pele kick, forearms, and a suplex. Riddle follows up with a penalty kick before wiping out Rollins with a dive. Then we go to Owens running through the crowd, attacks Riddle for the DQ and lays out Owens with the Orton runs down, lays out Owens with the RKO. And then we go to a tag match to finish things off. Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens defeats Riddle and Randy Orton. 8:09 on TV time. Jimmy Smith, who doesn't seem very smart, can't believe we're seeing a tag team match. Owens down. Rollins tries to get him back into things by smacking him on the shoulder. Owens then screams at him and tells him that he got with him an RK Bro, which is then funny. Orton then gives Rollins a backdrop onto the announcer's table. Riddle tags in, but Owens cuts off Riddle with a super kick. They work over Riddle until Riddle dodges a Rollins frog splash before hitting Owens with a knee strike. Orton then makes hot tag, hits Rollins with clotheslines, power slam, draping DDT. Owens eats a power slam 2. Rollins then blocks an RKO. Riddle tags himself in, knocks down Owens. Rollins then kicks away, but then comes back with a bunch of elbow strikes. Rollins follows up with a curve stomp for the pinfall. Orton gives Owens an RKO following the match. Rollins laughs and walks away. So, that's the close of Raw. I'm not sure that this should be, 6 weeks away from WrestleMania, but anyway, who cares? It's just WWE, and ultimately, I don't know why people watch it. I don't know what would compel a person to become a fan of it if they don't have a history with the brand, and it's quite sad, to be honest, but hey, they're making more money than ever before, so I must not be their target demo. We'll be back with more right after this.